basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience.
The Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time.
It's time for the Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay podcast here on CLNS Media, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks. Okay, Bob, we got a lot of work to do, my friend. The Celtics are in trouble. They really are. And boy, what a difference a year makes. Can you pinpoint one specific area?
Well, if I had to wave my magic wand and say defense. I know the people are concerned about the shooting, and you know we have learned to live with the 3-point emphasis. It give it to take it away. One night against Indiana, they're hitting them. Next game, they're not. And you have to have a plan B. And without Porzingis, your original plan B is not possible. And they haven't had Porzingis. But what concerns me is defense. Concerns me when last we met, I was yelling about them not getting back on defense times or too often. And lately, it's just every aspect of defense. Man on man defense, pressure defense, helping out. Too many teams are scoring too many easy points.
I agree with you, Bob. And quite frankly, I was shocked. I thought in the Philadelphia game, which they lost, I thought the Sixers simply wanted it more. And especially in the Indiana game, the second loss, it's bad. The defensive, they are a step or two behind when players are going to the basket. That's a problem. Now,
Holiday's been out, and he's an important part of that aspect of the defense. Granted. And without Porzingis, you don't have the rim protector. Granted, but you're right. The rest of them have to pull themselves together.
It's effort, Bob. I mean, it's effort. You know what I mean?
It's not there. Whether they think they can outscore people and live on that, or if that's it, or something. Now, Joe's got a crisis. Mazzoli's got I don't know about crisis. He's got an issue, a major issue, and it's all correctable. That's the thing. It's not like. I think it's all correctable with the personnel that they have, and so I want to see. I'm concerned, and the thing that they better get in their heads is they got some serious competition in the East this year.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But you mentioned I want to stick on the defense for a moment because you mentioned Holiday being out, and there was discussion. Who would you rather have at the? This is just all talk minutia. Who would you rather have, Holiday or? God, I just blanked. Our little friend, Pritchard. God, sorry, Holiday brain fog. It was like, Pritchard's making threes, and it's a fun topic. But at the end of the day, it's Holiday, and you just mentioned it. He's a better defensive player than Pritchard, and he can set the tone for the team. And they're not good enough at the three to outscore people. I think, my opinion.
Some nights it is.
Well, some nights they are, but they're not the Golden State Warriors.
But they go into serious droughts, and
right,
and that's when you need that's when you need the defense. First of all, you got to get stops and prevent the other team from taking full advantage of that, and then you have to have a plan B and not just the three. So yeah, there's a concern here. I mean,
I thought in the second Indiana game, in which all of a sudden in the fourth quarter they got blown out. I thought, okay. I'm starting to see some moves to the basket. I mean, there was some inside-out stuff. There was some motion. And that was specifically in the third quarter. And then the defense just let them down. There was a terrific article in The Athletic that talked about the Celtics' three-point shooting. And as you know, the world of statistics now is just at another level. And this particular stat was they were shooting 55% of their shots were threes, which was by far the most in NBA history. The second alarming number was threes not off the catch, one-on-one, not inside out. Mm-hmm. Most of their threes are off the dribble. It's not off of ball movement or ball motion. And to me, that was as we get to the offensive side of things, to me, that was telling the story offensively.
That didn't used to be the case.
Agreed.
If you were to take an overview of last season, if you had a sampling of a major sampling of last season, you would see that was not the case. That they were exemplary. They were very similar to what the Warriors were during their run and their ball movement, and the threes were coming out naturally and unforced, So that's a very good point. Once again, those things are all correctable. We don't need once again, we don't need a talent infusion. We need something infusion. We need an effort infusion. We need an IQ infusion or something. But these guys, we still have a talented bunch of players. Now they're down 2-1, and it's if this were, April 15th, I'd be a little more concerned. But it's all correctable. But it's annoying. It's not what we've come to expect, and to me, I keep coming back to the fact that there's more competition this year in the East, and they're going to have to get this. All I can think of is share, snap out of it, and if you remember, and I've been yelling at the screen, snap out of it, and so that's my admonition.
All right, Bob. Let's get your thoughts on the rest of the East, where Philadelphia did show against the Celtics that they have a talent. They, if their big guys healthy. And then also your New York Knicks.
Well, the Knicks are a good story. This starting five is really good. What the moves they made starting last January by picking up Anunoby, and then in the offseason picking up Bridges, and of course the trade. The trade looks great. Leon Rose looks like executive of the year at the moment for the trade. Had Towns has fit in. He's giving them what they wanted and what they needed. And once they get. And if they ever get Mitchell Robinson back, they're going to have a nice 1-2 tandem of a scorer and a rim protector. They could be very good at that point. But that starting five. Now Thibodeau is famous for his reliance on starters, and he's living up to it again this year. All five starters are averaging between minutes. They're averaging between 34 and 39. And Towns at 34, Brunson at 35, Bridges at 39. He's number one. Anunoby at 36 and Hart at 37. And off the bench, then McBride 25, Payne 15, and Precious Achiuwa is getting some time because they have to have a backup center at 19. But that starting five, that's a very heavy reliance on the starting five. But they're giving them. But look at the distribution. They range from Hart at 14 points a game to Towns at 25 and Brunson at 25. And they've got 4 of those 5 starters have had a 40-point game this year. And Brunson is 1 game removed from a 55-point game. You've got to take this team very seriously offensive. If you think back, by the way, what I said opening night when the Celtics beat them handily, but by having a big 3-point bombardment. But I said, but if the Knicks play offense, the rest of the 81 games, the way they played offense tonight, they're going to win 55 games. And guess what? They're playing that offense, and they're even. And it took a while for Bridges to get rolling, and he has. And that is a very, very potent offensive team. And so I think they should be taken serious. Yes.
Well. You have mentioned that they need to spread the ball around because in the past they've been a one-man team, which has been a great story. But now that's not the case, and that seems to be what the Celtics need to do.
Yeah, well, so when they need a soul searching here, and it's. But we knew it was going to be different.
Playing team ball. It's not.
By the way, I don't want to. One thing you hear, everybody, every defending champion has the thing to fall back on. Everybody's gunning for us. Everybody's up for us. Yeah. Fine. I don't want to hear that one. I don't care. That was a given. And it's not just that. And in case if you do believe that, you got to meet will with will. You got to match them with intensity. And
you would want that. Plus, the other note in that Athletic article was they have an easier schedule this year than last year.
Wow.
So there's no excuses. Yeah, they're gunning for you, but a lot of their wins have come against subpar teams.
Yeah. Right. The Wizards 3 times already, right?
What's that?
Wizards 3 times already, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, their schedule is not hard.
So, yeah, that's a very good point.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's really easy. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. So basketball season is definitely heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money here on Prize Picks. And Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. This is how you do it. Think Steph Curry will get more than 5 3-pointers next week, or maybe Giannis more than 35. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. So how about Jaylen Brown? Could he get more than 22 points this week? Anthony Edwards, could he do more than 30? How about Doncic? Could he have another amazing night with a triple-double? Perhaps more than 20 rebounds again? So download the app today and use CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Meanwhile, there are 4 games as we speak, 4 games behind Cleveland, and only 1 ahead of New York.
Right.
1 game ahead of New York. New York, by the way, has won 8 in a row and 15 of their last 18. And they're trending stock upward, boy. I'm telling you. And by the way, Brunson 55. Who would have ever thought that Brunson coming out? The Brunson we saw going back to Villanova would be a 55-point scorer. I did ask Jay Wright. I contacted Jay Wright after that 55-point game. So, did you ever dream or think when you recruited this kid that he could score 55 points in an NBA game? He said, no. What I did think is that he could be the point guard on an NBA champion.
Oh.
And so I'm just saying, and that's what, but how, Jay's got to be beaming. I mean, these are three of those guys are his guys, you know?
By the way, have you seen him on television?
Yes.
He's phenomenal.
He's a natural.
Phenomenal.
He's natural. He's good. He's, he's very good. And I'm happy for him. That's good. It's good. So that's the Knicks, and of course Cleveland. Nothing new to say about Cleveland. They're playing well, and they're the ruling the roost in the East right now.
Now you said you want to talk about that Denver box score.
Oh, I'm
are you talking about the 132-121 win over Utah?
Sure am. Did you notice something about the starting 5?
For Denver?
Yeah.
20, 21, 36, 16, 20.
4 of them scored 20, and the 5th had a triple-double and that's Westbrook, in which he scored 16 and shot 7 for 7. And, I love box scores. I love baseball box scores. I love basketball box scores most of all. And I'm always on the lookout for something. We have discussed this in the past, I think, as somebody else flirted with this. I've seen in all my years of going and covering combined in the NBA, go back 60 years now, 2 games in which all 5 starters for a team had 20 points. And here's a team that missed it by 4 with a guy who shot 7 for 7. Those 2 teams were the Boston Celtics in the early 70s. I got to pin this date down, who beat the Bullets one night with all 5 starters having 20. And the thing that made that, happen was Don Chaney had 20. That was very rare. Duck would never get 20, but he had that night. And the other was the 84 Suns in a playoff game in Los Angeles at LA. They beat the Lakers. And the starting 5 was Alvin Adams, Maurice Lucas, Larry Nance. He didn't know he was senior then. He was senior.
Right, he was senior then.
Senior to be Walter Davis and Kyle Macy.
Wow.
And those are the 5 20-point scorers. So I'm always on the lookout for a game in which there would be 5 20-point scorers on the team. But the Nuggets came very, very close. And, of course, Doncic.
Did you see
Jokic.
Jokic's line? 36.
Oh, I was going to say, 36, 22.
22 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers.
Call that's a Chamberlain line. Some of the numbers that he put up in the mid 60s, were ridiculous. And when he went into his middle phase, I call it his real team phase. Like the night they beat the Celtics in 1967 in Game 5 to win the Eastern Conference Championship, Wilt had 29 points, 36 rebounds, and 13 assists.
36 rebounds.
So that was but Jokic threatened that. So,
God, 30. I can't even imagine 36. I can't. He
and Russell put up numbers like that. I mean, they would average in their great years. They averaged 20 plus rebounds.
Oh, I know. I know they did. Yeah, I mean,
because there were, once again, I have to point out, rebounds were easier to get because there were more shots taken and more shots missed. Somebody had to get the rebounds.
Right.
It's like with Oscar Robertson's triple doubles as opposed to Westbrook's triple doubles. Oscar's day was easier to get rebounds, much harder to get assists. And today, assists are, you pass the ball to a guy for a 3-pointer, he makes it, you get an assist. I mean, that wasn't remotely conceivable in the 60s. And they were harder to get rebounds because the shooting is fewer shots are going are missing, percentage wise. And so it's harder to get the rebounds. It's much easier to get the assists.
I've always wanted to know this. How did Don Chaney get the nickname Duck?
Donald Duck.
That's it?
I think so. He wasn't the only duck out there. There were a couple of other ducks around sports, I think. But I think it's very simple. I think it was from Donald Duck. And that's a very good question. I haven't thought about it, obviously, much in the last 40 years. But there's no other reason. He didn't walk duck-footed. He didn't have any other...
Well, that's what I wondered, if he walked duck-footed.
He didn't go quack. I don't know. I think it was just, and it stuck. And he was Duck. Yeah, we know him as Duck.
Did you, when you covered him, because we've talked about how many coaches from those 70s teams have gone on to become, how many players went on to become coaches, and Silas and Chaney, Cowens did it. Jojo and Havlicek didn't do it, but
Nelson, of course. You said Nelson, right?
Nelson. No, I forgot about Nelly.
All of them, Nelson.
Yeah. How did you think Chaney would be a coach?
Never thought about Chaney, and not that I dismissed the idea. He was intelligent and all that, but I just didn't see him having the desire to, give orders in any way, shape, or form. That fooled me. I didn't see that coming with Duck. No, I did not. You could see it, in Nelly. You could see it in Silas. You could see it. Havlicek, of course, if he wanted to be, he would have been. There would have been a line, but he had no desire to live the life or to do it. It just didn't appeal to him. But
boy, I'll tell you, Hondo as a coach, he was so meticulous and so demanding of himself in the way he lived his life. And I knew him a little bit, but from what I've read, I think he would have been a hard guy to please as a coach.
He would have been, and I think he knew it about himself. See, he knew it about himself, and nothing about it appealed to him. And I think that's a very good point. I think I'm quite certain that he knew that he was going to be hard to please. Because I remember his immediate exasperation with the 70-71 team. The first team, the 69-70 team, excuse me, the first team post Russell, and Tommy's first year coaching Heinz, and JoJo and Chaney and Kaburski are getting a playing time, and there was some nights where they did some lunkhead things. John had a hard time dealing with that, and so I think that's one of the reasons why he decided I'm not going to be a coach. But I think there were several.
Yeah, he would have had a tough time with it. Interesting. Who do you think of those former Celtics? And I don't even know if we want to go by success. Who is the best coach?
Tommy was interesting, and Tommy, I thought, did a great job in player development. Like Chaney, for example, he worked with Chaney individually at before and after practice to help him on his shot, and he had and his technique and Chaney, when you average 13 points a game, it would have been unimaginable at the beginning. You never would have thought he could have done that. And one of the reasons was fast break basketball, and he did get some transition points, but he actually started making some jump shots, and Tommy is the one that made him into a shooter. He was good at that. And he had a great scheme to maximize both Cowens and Finkel as offensive players. That's 3-2 offense that he put in. Tommy's problem was he thought too much. And drove John crazy a little bit, and it drove Cowens crazy at times. In that he'd start changing things up before in anticipation that the other team was going to catch on, instead of waiting until they actually caught on before he had to worry about changing it.
Right.
And too many of his practices were talky, because he fancied himself as a master psychologist. And
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
I'm well aware. I had so many discussions with Tommy watching a game when he wasn't on the road. He would stay in the studio and he would just talk. Tommy was fascinating to watch a game with, because it wasn't the Tommy Point shtick. It was just watching the game. And he would be 3 plays ahead, and he would tell you this is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. But he was very big on the psychology of it, very big on the mental aspect. Yeah.
I mean, and he was, he fancied himself as an intellectual, and he was. Right? He was
he was a Renaissance man. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I always kid about, he used the word all the time when he would give talks. I used to go with him to talks, luncheon talks in the old days. The NBA were very important. Your job included inherently being an ambassador to the game, going into the next town and speaking at the luncheon that the local team would have to generate interest in the game and the sport. And believe me, Tommy, the word he loved was inculcate. And how many people use the word inculcate?
I don't remember him using that one, but I do.
Well, he did. I love that word that he used. But so anyway, Tommy won 2 championships, so you got to give him the prize, and he's in the Hall of Fame as a coach. Nelly was a mad scientist of a coach. Nelly made Newt Baldwin into a 3-point shooter. Talk about being ahead of your time. Think about that.
Right.
What a controversial thing that was at the time, when he was encouraging Bowl to take 3-point shots at 7'7". And today, of course, it's the way of the world, but not the way it was in 40 years ago. No, Nelly had in Golden State, he had the famous street, the little guy offense, had the nickname Run DMC. The Run DMC. He put that. Nelly was the master mad scientist of a coach. He never won a championship, but he won a lot of games, and his teams. His best Bucks teams, I said, they were the ultimate B students. They drank their milk to the bottom of the glass. They looked both ways before crossing. They stayed up late at night studying for the exam, and they got a B. They got a B plus. They couldn't get that A. They just weren't good enough.
Oh, it's the holiday season. Yes, it is. And Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. And that means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better. And it also makes the perfect gift. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have the single best value seat available with the super deal. That's it, the single best value seat available with the super deal. Plus, you can get seat views before you buy them, so you know what you're getting. You get to look under the hood, as they say. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
In hindsight, I always felt that it was a surprise that Dave Cowens became a coach. And I had a chance to talk to him a number of times. I really enjoyed Dave a lot. He would come in studio, and who knows, maybe he's watching our
up there in Maine,
listening to us up on Sebago Lake in Maine. But I was always surprised he was a coach, and he did it a couple times.
He coached Charlotte. He coached
the Warriors.
Warriors, of course. Yeah. Did I say Charlotte? Yeah.
Charlotte. No, he was in Charlotte.
Yeah, and Cowan's, I mean, and Silas coached Charlotte also, right? Didn't he?
Yes.
But, yeah, I didn't see it, especially after the. I don't know. It's funny because he got thrust into coaching as the player coach in that
Yeah, he didn't want it.
in that disastrous season of 77, 78. And after Satch got fired 12 games into the season. And there's another coach, by the way, we met, of the coaching tree, Satch Sanders. And of course, KC, my God, there was something. So anyway.
Sure, KC with Washington.
But I wish I'd love to talk to Dave about it, what his reflections are on that player coach thing. But we knew that they needed a real coach, that at that time it wasn't best for him as he and his game. And they did get one. They got Fitch, and that we had immediate success with it. But anyway, no, I would have been surprised that he would have continued on as a coach. But with Dave, you never knew about what area of life he was going to focus on. It.
Oh no. He was great, but yeah, But you mentioned KC. He doesn't get enough credit because everybody feels he just rolled out the balls.
KC was a people person, though, as opposed to a
no question.
And I think he was the perfect guy for the 85, 86 Celtics.
No question.
And he was the perfectly wrong guy for the 86, 87 Celtics. And his thing was he understood the psychology of jocks and stars. He knew how to win games. And he just wasn't, he just knew there's something about him. And guys wanted to play for him. He's a wonderful human being. Everybody.
Sweetheart.
Everybody would tell you that. Casey Jones was a wonderful human being. But he was not a master of detail. I'll tell you that at all. And I used to say, if you gave every coach in the league a yellow legal pad and a minute or two and said, just name as many players in this league as you can, he'd finish last. And he would finish last. And he'd be lucky to know who they were playing next. I'm serious. And he just, and this was after I was used to Bill Fitch, who was Mr. Micromanage.
Yeah.
To the nth degree, and so you can understand that there was friction between those two a lot.
Yeah, two different ways of doing things. Well,
anyway, Casey.
Yeah, it's a compliment to Red for making the move because it seemed like he made the coaching change at the right time.
Oh, he did. Well, he did, and that had to happen. Well, they all quit. All but Dave. All but Larry quit on Fitch when they got swept in '83. Now, granted, Larry was hurt and he missed game one en route to the sweep, and they just weren't equipped physically to play the Bucks that year. But they quit on him, and the only one who didn't was as far as I'm concerned, was Larry, because Larry didn't mind authority. He didn't mind. Larry respected authority and sought authority, and he didn't mind all Fitch's foibles the way most of the others did. All the veterans that mattered did, other than him.
Moving on now to the Lakers. What did you think about the Lakers deal?
They picked up veterans. I think what I'm telling is they think that they can do something now. They've been trying to address their problems going back to last year.
Right.
With shooting, they picked up shooters. They think they drafted Connect. They got Hachimura, who can shoot. They got now they picked up two veterans who know how to play. Schroeder coming off arguably as good a year as he's ever had. Schroeder. Now, how he's fit on with, I should be fine. Finney Smith's one of those guys, Garrett, that he's been around and we don't pay any attention to him, but apparently he's acquired. I never have, except that I learned now, he's a poised, quiet, solid locker room, kind of good locker room guy. And they think they can make some waves in the West. I mean, they don't see anything insurmountable. Obviously, OKC is the class right now, but I think they haven't given up on the season at all in any way. And
the best name in the league, Shake Milton. Shake. Anybody named Shake?
Shake. Well, we love Shake. We love that name. Of course, we did have Archie Clark, who was nicknamed Shake and Bake by Sonny Hill. But this guy, apparently it's on his birth certificate or not. Or I don't know. We have to check. Who knows? I have to check. I don't know where the nickname came from. But I just think it shows activity, we're trying to do something. We think we can do something, and they could be a problem for people if big if for them is will Anthony Davis be able to play enough?
Well, that's always been the question.
And, he goes out for 2 or 3 games. He comes back. He had big numbers a couple of nights ago. He had big numbers, 31 and 19.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's healthy for the entire playoffs,
yeah,
why not? But that's always the thing with them.
And meanwhile, I continue to be annoyed and perplexed at the LeBron haters. I don't know. They manufacture these charges against LeBron. Do you think he's anything but a team player when the game starts?
No, of course.
Do you think he's anything but a team player when the game starts? He's always been a team player, going back to St. Vincent, St. Mary.
Well, that was the criticism early. He was too much of a team player.
That's what I hung on him for sure. He didn't become a champion until he recognized, oh hell, I am the best player. I got to take over, and it wasn't in his nature to do that necessarily. The polar opposite of Michael. And Michael didn't get to the mountaintop of hit that he ascended until he learned how to share. And LeBron didn't get to his mountaintop until he learned how to take over when it's time and how to take over, and which with his great many skills does he exhibit when. And so anyway, what he's doing at 40, it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And now the first guy to be a teenager and a 40-year-old guy in the league, and it's I continue to admire the game that he plays, and and for people that are still hanging on the decision, that was in 2010.
Oh my God, forget about it.
Forget about it. And he's made, so I just want to pay tribute to LeBron at 40, and I'm looking forward to seeing him, yet another time when they come to Boston.
All right, Bob. Listen, any New Year's resolutions?
No, I think the folly of New Year's resolutions, right? The only question is how soon are they broken? No, I just got to just do the things that I need to do to stay healthy, and not slack off. That's all, and that's all I'm saying. And I got to not get lazy. So that's my resolution. Don't get lazy.
And hopefully the Celtics resolution is to return to the form of last year, because if the Celtics aren't there for us, it's Slim Pickens in New England.
Yeah, it is. It is. Although I am getting, it's too early to get excited, but I'm projecting down the road. I want to see spring training. This new crop, right? The Campbell and Montgomery, and I want to see these guys. And I'm a big, of course, I love Durant, but I'm a big Cassis believer too. So I think they could fool some people. And they have tried to address the pitching situation, and on paper it appears they set themselves up to be far better than last year. However, we'll get to that when we get to March. But right, the Celtics, they better have some resolutions about getting back and playing some defense first, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks.